Hi everyone, today we're going to look at another relational database situation. Today we're going to look at a classic example, which would be a relational database used in a library. Now, as we know, in a library there will be library members. Every member in the library will have a unique member ID. So this is going to be the unique field in my database, sometimes called the primary key field. And every member will also have some personal information that will be stored in the library database. So this is my members table with all of the different fields storing data about members of the library. Another table in my library database will be my books table. Every book will have a unique ISBN number, so I'm going to use that as the unique field in my database table. And of course we will also store the title and the author of the book. I'm going to create another table in my library database application. This will be my borrow table. So every time a member borrows a book on a given date, that information will be stored in a table. Finally, I need to think about the relationships between these three tables. This is a relational database. The ISBN number of the book that is being borrowed is related to the same ISBN number which is being stored in the books table. So we can easily find out that the ISBN number 17625433792 is actually Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone by J.K. Rowling. Okay, so there is a relationship between this number and the same number that can be found in the books table, and that will take us to related data. And the same can be said for members. The member who borrowed Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone has a member ID of LIB007. And if we look into the members table, we can see that LIB007 is in fact Jack Jones, New York City, jackjones@hotmail.com. Okay, so this is my relational database. Let's get into our database application and we'll look at how to set this up. Okay, here we are in Microsoft Access. I've already created two tables, the members table and the books table. We'll have a very quick look at them. And I've populated the table with some sample data. Every member has a unique member ID. These are all unique values. This is my primary key field. Jack Lake has a member ID of lib001. Kyle Davidson has a member ID of lib012. These are unique values. If we go into Design View, we'll see that member ID has a text data type and it is my primary key field. You can see the key icon right next to it. That's my primary key field. Let's have a look at table books. The ISBN field is the unique field. Every number is unique and every book has a title and an author. Let's go into Design View. As you can see, the ISBN field is a number. It's a long integer and it is my primary key field. The title and the author fields are both text. So what I want to do now is create another table which will allow me to borrow books from the library. So let's create my borrow table. If I go back. Now, I'll talk about this in a minute, but let's first of all start with ISBN. Now the ISBN field in table books is an integer and it's a long integer. So this ISBN has to have the same data type or the relationship won't work. So this is a long integer. Next we have the member ID, and if I remember correctly, it's this member ID, the related one, is text, so this has to be text. And finally we're going to do borrow date. And that's going to be date time, and I'm going to format it as a short date. That's just a bad habit of mine. Okay, so my borrow table is ready to go. Now the ID, I'm just going to call this borrow ID. my ID field is just an auto number field. So every time we add a new record to table borrow, this field will just increment by 1. I can't make the ISB number the unique field, because when we borrow a book, we can borrow the same book many times. So we're going to see this number again and again and again in the table. It's not going to be unique in this table. Also, a member can borrow more than one book. So we're going to see the same membership ID many times. This cannot be the unique field for this table. And of course, many books can be borrowed on the same date. So this cannot be the unique field for this table. So in this table situation, we will have to create our own unique a primary key field. Okay, and we'll look at how that works in a moment. Now that we've done that, let's go back into Datasheet View. We'll save it. We now have 3 tables. They're all ready to go. So what we need to do now is to think about the relationships between the 3 tables. So let's do that next. In Access, when you want to create relationships between tables, you have to make sure they're all closed. It's slightly painful, but that's the way it is. Let's close everything. Database Tools, Relationships, Show Table, Books, Borrow, Members, and let's make those relationships. The Borrow table has an ISBN field, and that is related to the ISBN field in Table Books. The Borrow table has a Member ID field, and that Member ID field is related to the Member ID in Table Members. Brilliant, we now have a relational database. Alright, so let's open up our tables. My Borrow table is empty, but let's say that today, Home Economics 101, so this is table Borrow, I'm going to paste that ISBN number. The auto number did its magic, my Borrow ID has become 1, that's the auto number working. The member ID was Belle Peterson. So Belle Peterson borrowed Home Economics 101 last Friday. There we have a record in our Borrow table. Let's add another one. Physics 101 was borrowed by Lyle Snape. Again, last Friday. Let's do another one. Biology 101. Whoops. Biology 101 was borrowed by Lyle Snape as well. He borrowed another book on the same day. That's fine. That's possible. The 29th. He borrowed 2 books on the same day. Okay? And then, interestingly, this user, LIB006, borrowed this book today. So it must have been returned and it's available again. So we're starting to populate our Borrow table with data. And as you can see, every time I populate, I make a new record of data, my Borrow ID increments by 1. That's the auto number happening. I'm not dealing with that. Access is dealing with that for me. Okay. Now imagine being a librarian and having to do that on a daily basis. You're constantly going between tables looking for book IDs and looking for member IDs and updating the Borrow table. It's not a very efficient way of working. So what I'm going to do now is show you how to make that a little bit easier by creating a data entry form. Let's go to Create Form. I'm going to start with the wizard. We're going to be entering data into the Borrow table. So let's select that table. This is the one that we're going to be using the form for. And I'm going to allow the user to type in the ISBN number, type in the member ID number, and also enter a borrow date. Borrow ID is an auto number field. I'm not going to impact that. I'm not going to have that as a selected field. I could, but I'm not going to. Next, what title do you want for your form? Well, it is a form, so I'm going to call it FRM Borrow. Finish. Oh, okay, this is, All right, this is displaying information from the borrow table, right? There are 4 records at the moment. Yep, there are 4 records, and it's just displaying the data. I don't want to use this form to display data. I want to use this form to do data entry. So let's go to Design View. Let's open up the property sheet for this form, and let's find data entry. Yes, data entry. Yes. Let's go back to Form View. Right, we got it. So now we can enter data into this form. I'm just going to show you something else very quickly, which is a bit funky. In the form footer, I'm just going to put in a button. This is a button. Is that a button? Yes, that's a button. Just going to put in a button, which is going to do some record operation, which is add a new record. Next. Yeah, we'll just do that. We'll do it. Command button, CMD, add borrow record. I don't know. Doesn't matter. So this is going to be a button that I press after I enter data here, and it will add the record into the table. So let's go back to Form View. Okay, it's all the way down there. Anyway, ISBN number. Let's go back to Table Books. I'm going to copy an ISBN number. Lib number will be LIB. Let's just do 001. And the borrow date is today. And let's do add new record. Brilliant! Did it work? Just going to close table borrow and refresh it by opening it again. Yes! Lib 001 borrowed that book. Yes, that's the 5th record. It worked. But do you see that I'm still copying and pasting ISBN numbers into the form's text box? It's still not very efficient. I don't want to do it that way. Back to Design View. There's the text box. I'm going to delete that. Do you see that it's bound to the ISBN field? This text box will send data into the ISBN field in Table Borrow. But I don't want to use a text box. I want to use a combo box. I want the combo box to get values from another table. Yes, I want to get all the ISBN values from Table Books. So I want to get the ISBN value, but it might be useful to see the title and the author as well. Let's just do that for now. Let's just sort it in ascending order of ISBN. Hide the key column. I'm just going to uncheck that. I'm not sure why they recommend that. I'm not sure. Let's just go next. When you select a row in the combo box, you can store a value. I don't think we need to store any values. We're just displaying values. Remember the store that value. I don't think we need to store values. Let's not change anything there for now. What label would you like for your combo box? I'm just going to give it a nice big capital ISBN label. Finish. Brilliant. So we have a combo box, but do you remember my text box was bound to the ISBN field. This is currently unbound, but I want to bind it. Let's go to Control Source. Bind it to the ISBN field. That's what I want. Let's go to Form View. So I'm going to choose Math 101, and the library ID was 007, and the borrow date was yesterday. Add record. Done. Let's just check that it worked. Open up Table Borrow. Did it work? I think it worked. Brilliant.